else should we get here?
You want to do a little economic policy with Dave Rubin?
Oh, sure. Let's check in and get a sense. Now, is this one of those? Is this one of those clips? Is this one of those clips where he just basically does an intro and where he's just so general that his producers can plug in the clip and then he does the outro, or is he really delve in here?
Yeah, this is him making an editorial effort here.
Oh, all right. Oh, this should be really enlightening.
Yeah. We know because of the glasses.
Yeah, he's getting wonky now.
No prescription.
We all kind of knew this was true. It's never sexy to talk about the debt, right? You don't want to be a politician and come in and be like, we're going to have to hack away at the state. We're going to have to look at entitlements. We're going to have to look at all of these things. But here they are. They're doing it, and they're uncovering crazy things. But I've been saying this for years, and talking about the debt is not even a sexy thing for me to have to do. But think about it. If we as a country, if we just owe China an insane amount of money, trillions of dollars, because we keep borrowing on top of borrowing, and every year we get a budget coming in. Think about your own home's budget, or think about your business's budget or anything else. If you're always overspending, eventually the bank cuts you off. The way we've done it, basically, is we either print more money, thus devaluing the money, or we borrow more from China. And we end up borrowing on borrowing, so we can't even pay back the interest. Well, eventually, think about a mafia movie. We're in the midst of rewatching.
Oh, wait a
Sopranos.
second. Are we doing that again? The mafia movie?
Debts. A guy with a bat shows up to your house. And
all right, pause it for a second. Hold on. Pause it for a second.
Nothing good has ever happened.
Pause it for a second. Before we get this, there's a couple of things that we need to work out. Mm-hmm. First off, the United States government is very different from a family's budget. And a big reason for that, in fact, maybe not the sole reason, but the big reason for that is you as a family do not print money. You do not have the ability to tax other people or to create money. You don't have the ability to do that. So it's not the same. It's a completely useless analogy. The other thing, do we have that clip? Yeah, take that. As far as China owning our debt, foreign investors as a whole, never mind China, foreign investors as a whole own 30% of our debt. The vast majority of our debt is either owned by Americans or, frankly, the U.S. government. The U.S. government owns like almost a third of our debt. And that means they've just borrowed from Social Security. And the reason why we actually have heard a lot about the debt over the past 20 years, I don't know where Dave Rubin was.
I know.
In fact,
he's
it was
stuck in that commentary was out of 2012. It's like he was sent back in a time machine.
Well, Paul Ryan, all of them. It was all about debt. The reason why they want to cut Social Security is they don't want to pay that money back to Social Security. They wanted to have spent it essentially on tax cuts for wealthy people. That money that is owed the U.S. government, a lot of it's coming from Social Security. 25 years ago, Al Gore was mocked because he wanted to put it in a lockbox. In other words, you can't come in and borrow this money because that encourages the right to cut Social Security so they don't have to pay it back into Social Security. But go ahead.
Can't pay off your debts. A guy with a bat shows up to your house and he takes you out to East Rutherford. And nothing good has ever happened in East Rutherford. Now, the issue, of course, for us is that we have nukes and big weapons and an army. So that's the one thing that basically stops China from cashing in the debt. But it does not work that way.
Pause it. I'm sorry. That is also not the reason why China doesn't cash in debt.
Why would they keep buying?
The reason why China doesn't cash in that debt, and to a certain extent, because of Donald Trump's economic decisions, they are beginning to de-dollarize quite a bit, frankly. The reason why they they don't want to cash in that debt is that they also know that we are huge consumers of their products. Now, of course, Donald Trump has basically deleveraged ourselves in terms of like giving us less leverage over that by collecting these taxes on imports. But nevertheless, it's not because China is afraid of us bombing them if they don't buy our treasury notes. Go ahead.
Stops China from cashing in the debt, but it does not work that way over time. So what we're doing right now is actually making sure that we can cover our debts and that we can get rid of the waste and everything else. It's beautiful because we're fighting for something, which I know is very upsetting to that lady with the giant shoulder pads.
Well, it was a lady, so that's...
Can you pull up just Google increase in debt during Republican years versus Democratic years? I mean, we had an explosion of debt in the wake of COVID, but the budget deficits were actually going down under Biden. But I want to also remind people that we do not want a balanced budget. We want to have deficits because there's a certain amount of money supply in the country at any given time. And if the government has a surplus, that means that the private sector has a deficit. That's basically it.
I'm having a hard time figuring out who to believe because we keep switching between two different guys with glasses on.
Rubin's thing
You both feel
worked.
right at the moment.
He's wearing a suit coat though.
That's more official.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's funny, if you looked at this sort of thing, there's just a headline from a couple days ago, Fortune. America is going broke slowly, says JP Morgan as national debt balloons and tariff revenue looks shaky. And the other thing I would say is Dave Rubin mentioned a couple things that people might look at when you want to get serious about the national debt, like cutting programs, I think he mentioned. How about raising taxes on the type of people that pay Dave Rubin to sputter inanity into a camera every day?
And you see how this is where, like, the Democrats have dropped the ball. And this is because they have basically kind of committed to not meaningfully raising income taxes on the highest earners in this country, although I think that's changing. I do think part of why Republicans got away with this for so long is like describing something as a household budget is an accessible way for people to feel like they understand politics, even though what you're saying, Sam, is like factually correct. But if the Democrats can make a case on those terms, are you worried about like the deficit? Well, that's there's a bunch of wealth and money out there. Let's tax billionaires out of existence and get some of that money back. And it's not, I know it's not actually like how it works, right? But in terms of how you make an argument salient to people who want to feel like so much of this is about flattering people like where they are, and they want to feel like they can understand this kind of thing. And when you make it about a household budget and you say it like that, bring in more revenue, it's much more palatable in my view.
Oh, our house is broke. The house I live in with Jeff Bezos and Donald Trump and all those people. How about they start pitching in a little bit?
Yep. Yeah.
They're using up all the resources in the house too, incidentally.
Yeah.
They're hoarding all the revenue. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.